I'm using a Cricut machine to cut and score my pieces. The Cricut machine is like a printer, except it cuts. The tool with the pink handle is actually scoring or indenting into the paper so that you have an easy fold line. And then the other side, there's a blade and it will cut the rectangle. After I cut out my rectangles that have been pre-scored, then I'm going to actually take some time to fold along the score marks. Even though we won't construct until after we add our patterns, I find that it's difficult to see the score marks. And so by pre-folding along the score, it's very easy to see where I will put my contrasting patterns on the areas that get pushed in. In this project, we're going to use color and also pattern to create variety and also unity in our work of art. So in order to make our artwork seem like it fits together, we can use a color scheme. In other words, we can repeat colors over and over again. Even though we're using a variety of patterns, by using a repetition of colors, we can create some unity in our artwork. We are going to add patterns to the side of our rectangle where the circle will push in. So make sure it does not look like this. This is the back. I used markers for this project because it gave the most vibrant set of colors. You could also use colored pencil, but I would recommend pressing hard. I used similar patterns on the insets, but then I changed the colors a little bit, either across or diagonally. I used a black permanent marker first, and I would start filling in whatever pattern I wanted to use. Now, if you're feeling a little less confident, you could pencil your patterns first. You could also decide not to use black outlining at all. You can use whatever type of markers you would like to use. I happen to have on hand these permanent markers by Bic. I also had some watercolor-based markers that I used that were similar to flares. You can use whatever you like, but the important thing is that you keep a pretty limited color scheme. I have 2 shades of blue and some shades of pink and purple. Because I've done so many of these in color, I decided to do these all in black and white. So you can see here that I have a variety of patterns. In some cases, I used the same pattern, but varied it a little bit. I have some vertical and horizontal lines going behind my polka dots. On this one, I did 2 different patterns across from each other. And on this one here, in the main pattern, I did Zentangles. There's a tutorial in the classroom that you can watch where it talks to you about how to create Zentangles, how to follow Zentangle patterns that you find online. An important detail that can really help your orb look finished off is to make sure your patterns go all the way to the edge of the paper or the edge of the shape. When a line or a shape approaches the end of the area in which you're drawing, have it go off the page. It forces the viewer to imagine the rest of that shape. In order to construct your orb, if you're using a cardstock or a heavier weight paper, I like to use the glue gun. If you're using my pattern or the paper that I gave you, there will be one side that is a little bit longer on the end. And that's the side that I like to put the glue on. So I'll just put one little row of glue. I don't need a ton because it is paper. And then I am going to glue together the first strip. You could use any kind of glue, but you'd want to make sure, because we're going to be tugging at it a little bit, you'd want to make sure that you let it dry thoroughly if you use Elmer's or something like that. In class, if we're constructing it in class, I'm going to use the glue gun. So 2 of them, I'm going to go ahead and glue before even putting them together. Just the first 2. I do not want to glue the third. Then I'm going to take one of my 2 strips and I'm going to put it inside the other strip, like this. I want the sides that have the changing patterns to be facing out. Now I'm going to take my 3rd strip and I'm going to weave it on top and through the other 2. I actually need to turn this now that I saw what side is facing out. And then I'm going to have to turn this last one, but I'm going to glue it first. So I'm going to put a line of glue along the edge, and then I'm going to close it together. And now I have to turn that so the contrasting pattern is showing. I think that's the trickiest thing. And I would worry if you use too lightweight of a paper, or if you didn't wait for your glue to dry, then it might be difficult to do that without pulling or ripping something. Now I'm just going to fold in the areas that I pre-folded and scored. This is where pre-folding really helps. So I'm going to go like that. I'm going to turn it and do the other side. Oops. And I'll do these 2. I'm going to turn it. I'm going to pull this one just a little bit so I can get to it. And then I just have 2 more. And the last one's always the hardest, so I try to pull it as much as I can. But the nice thing is you get a nice snug fit. And there you go. There's one of my black and white ones. And here's another colorful one that I did. I've actually made, I think, 5 of them now because I've gotten a little obsessed with how much fun they are. Very relaxing to do patterns. Well, I hope you enjoyed, and I can't wait to create these with you in class.